Hi, Pat Newton with the North Carolina Forward Party. Today is August 24th, and this is my follow-up to the Republican debate that took place last night. I want to be clear, these are my opinions as an individual. I am not representing the Forward Party officially. I am just representing my thoughts on how this debate took place last night and the impact that it had. Obviously, I'm going to share some of my thoughts, though, as a Forwardist. So with that in mind, let's dive in. I thought they all did reasonably well. I think the one thing you want to avoid as a candidate is knocking yourself out of an election as a result of a debate. I don't think that happened with any of the candidates. I don't think there's any major faux pas where somebody would lose a tremendous amount of ground. I enjoy the debates. It's always a good opportunity. With Trump not being there, actually, I'll admit, I think I preferred that because I feel like he would have sucked a lot of the air out of the room as he does. It's his style. It's worked for him. He's been very successful with it. So that's not a criticism on my part, just more of an observation. But this gave us a chance to really hear from these other 8 individuals that are seeking to become president of the United States. So I enjoyed that. But I did want to get in a little bit to really how the whole conversation went, right? Their job last night, they all want to be president of the United States. So they're trying to prove to everyone, I'm the smartest, I've got the best ideas, I've got the solutions figured out. And again, as a forwardist, that's just not what I'm looking for in a candidate. I don't expect any one human being to be the smartest person on every topic and every issue. But I am looking for a leader that's going to bring people together. So I look, for example, Nikki Haley. I think she's got some great global experience having been in the UN that she would bring to the table. She's a past governor, but there were other governors on the stage as well. I think any governor brings great experience being the chief executive of a state, working with a General Assembly, with a Senate, trying to get legislation passed, working with their party, trying to hopefully work with the other party as well. So I always felt like gubernatorial experience can parlay well into the White House, and I think there's some historical proof of that as well. So, but my point is, I'm really looking for a leader that's going to step up and say, sure, maybe I have some great experience in this particular arena, but there's so many other areas that I am not an expert in. But what I'm going to do is reach out and get solutions from both sides of the issue, or 4 or 5 sides of a complicated issue, and really try to bring the best experts with the best solutions to the table. I didn't really feel like I heard a lot of that type of leadership, which is what I'm looking for personally. But more so, I wanted today just to get into the questions themselves. So they talked about education, they talked about the border, they talked about China, they talked about Ukraine, all very important topics. And I think myself and most voters want to know, where do they stand on these issues? So those are fair questions. But I must admit, I was really struck by the fact that in some ways, none of this really matters, right? The way our system is set up, for them to declare that they're going to abolish the Department of Education. I don't think that's realistic, and I don't even know if that's really the answer. Or DeSantis mentioned on his first day, he's going to tear up all these executive orders that Biden did. And others have said similar things, and I get it. He's frustrated with the things Biden has done. He feels like he could do better. But again, me personally, I don't really want to hear from a leader who the first thing they're going to do is throw salt in the wound of the person they beat and disrespect, all the members of that party that in many cases did a lot of work to try to make things better. Did they do it the best way, or the way I would agree or advocate? Probably not. But I'd rather hear about a leader who on their first day is going to reach out to the other party, or someday parties, hopefully, to work together to find solutions. Not to just announce, I'm now king of the hill and I control the sandbox and I'm going to tear up your executive orders and fight tooth and nail. It's just too much for me. I don't think it's productive. I don't think it's healthy. And it's not the kind of leadership that I want to see. What I would have rather seen is, especially from some of these governors and past governors, I would have loved for someone to ask questions of them about their experience in state government. But specifically, the things that are broken, right? The things that, frankly, the Forward Party and many other organizations are fighting to try to change. For example, last night, I was given the opportunity to speak at an event about ranked choice voting. Better Ballot of North Carolina was there. The Libertarians were hosting the event. Myself and some other Forwardists were able to attend. And it was great to see these different groups of people coming together on something as important as ranked choice voting. Something that, regardless of ideology, we can all agree would make the election process better, more fair, would yield better results. There's so many positive outcomes. And if you're not familiar with ranked choice voting, go to Better Ballot of North Carolina. They've got some great information there. But again, last night, I would have liked to seen someone say to a governor, tell us about when you were governor, right? So they're all Republicans. Well, what was your Senate and your Assembly makeup? Were you a supermajority? Did you have Republicans as far as the eye could see and had complete control? Or were you battling with the Democrats, and how were you able to get things done? But I would also like for them to ask, what about gerrymandering? I would think any governor that's going to be honest would have to say at some point in their political career, they experienced, whichever party was in power, taking advantage of that and frankly abusing that to set up the voting districts to make it easier for their party to win and harder for the other party to achieve any success. To me, that is not only wrong, it's frankly criminal. And that's why it's been in and out of court, not only in North Carolina, but across the country. It's a constant battle. So Jeff Jackson just did a video, I think 2 days ago, about the situation in North Carolina, how he's probably going to get gerrymandered out. But what I love about Jeff Jackson is he said, and for the record, when my party did this, whatever it was, 10 years ago or 15 years, the last time the Democrats were in charge or control of North Carolina, they did the exact same thing. They gerrymandered. They tried to block any Republican success. They tried to control everything. And he went on record saying it was wrong when my party did it, and it's wrong when the Republicans do it. It's not about a particular party. It's about the system. It is not the way it's supposed to be set up. We should all have equal votes. But so many of us are disenfranchised. If you're a Democrat and you live in a Republican district, nobody's really representing you, and vice versa. I look at the Electoral College, speaking of White House debates. I believe there's still all or nothing states, meaning that not only, let's just take Trump and Biden, if hopefully it won't come to that, but if it does, and in a state that has an all or nothing system for electoral votes, well, let's just say Biden gets 46% and Trump gets 44%. Say if there's 9 electoral votes, 5 would go to Biden and 4 would go to Trump, right? That would be fair. That would make sense. The math would work. Well, the Electoral College system in all or nothing states, not only it would be bad if they just said, we're going to give the 5 to Biden and then we're going to pretend the Trump voters never showed up. So we're not going to do anything with those 4 electoral votes. It's even worse than that. They're saying we're going to give Biden the 5 that he earned. We're going to take the 4 that people voted for Trump. We're going to reverse their votes and give those 4 electoral votes and pretend everyone in our state all agreed and voted for this person for president. That's horrible. And obviously the example I used had Biden on top, but you could reverse it. Either way, if you're on the wrong side of it, it's painful. It's not fair. It's not what people want or believe the process should be. So I would like to see a presidential debate where they talk about the important things that we all agree on that we can impact change. Term limits, ranked choice voting, open primaries. These are the types of things that voters really should be concerned about. I don't mean to imply that I'm not concerned about education or Ukraine or China. I am. They're all very pressing issues and very important. And it was good to hear their opinions on it. But realistically, I'd rather hear from my leaders or potential leaders on what they could do to make the system better. So hope you've enjoyed it. Always check out the website, patandchettshow.com, if you want to hear some of our podcasts. And please go to the Forward Party website, NorthCarolinaForwardParty.com, to learn more about the work we're doing right here in North Carolina. Thank you.